Welcome back, one and all, for the Welsh Esports League 2, where you join the two of us, P-Brain and P-Body, ahead of our week 4, where we have about one game. There's a lot of numbers, and it's all going to come down to this best of one. We talked about it a lot throughout the tournament so far. We're just about at the end now. So we're quite excited, really, to see the results in this fight for third, which is our last number here.
Absolutely, no. Very excited to head into this one. We did talk about it a lot, didn't we, Brett, in the previous game? I'm glad you still remember me as P-Brain, because I think that's absolutely apt. But very excited to head into this game. Of course, we've got the artists and the goats heading and vying for third place. So it's a very exciting match. We're not letting you go down in a whimper and a cry, but instead of a high excited scream of excitement between both these amazing teams. How do you think it's going to fare up? How do you think it's going to fare up, Brett? Is it looking promising for both the goats and the artists coming into this game?
I'm excited for the artists, right? Because we saw them week 1, we saw them in week 2. However, the performance was not ideal, right? We hyped them up because they were holding some of the players, or they were the holding team, right, from the previous Welsh Esports League. So the first look they got at you wasn't great, but they've won their 2 games since, sat at 2-2. However, Goats are also sat at 2-2. We've seen a lot of their games so far. We're pretty familiar with this team. We've got more familiar before this game. We've got to catch up with B, manager for the team as well. So maybe you can give us your takes on that conversation, because I think it infused us both quite a bit.
Yeah. Impressed with how humble B was coming across. It was so professional, it was so great. And I say that because, of course, last week with Pelican, we had a totally different conversation. It was very fun, to say the least. It was great to have a little bit of cheeky banter, as it were. It was professional, but it was good to set the stakes up for the match, of course. But this time around, we had a really calm, collected, professional approach from B. But it really did give us a lot of insights into the approach into draft. I don't want to dive too much into that, but a real sense of confidence is coming out. I think that's the fair thing to say. It wasn't, ego confidence. It was a real sense of confidence from all the players that they think they've got this in the bag. So that's really promising to see heading into a game of this stakes. It's third place, whoever wins. It's setting themselves up looking good. So yeah, it was great to see that confidence come through from B and the entire team as well. How did you interpret that?
I love the way you say that wasn't necessarily high confidence, but the way I described it was high spirits, right? They said the team was confident. They were very happy with their, preparation for draft is how I describe it. They seemed like they know what their angle was and how they're going to come and tackle and attack this draft. But also that they had respect here for the artists. And it wasn't just, we're confident because we think we're good. We're confident, but we think they're good as well. So I think as well, not just being high-spirited but confident, for us, that's great news because it means that hopefully it should be a banger, right? Despite the fact that they're from Bangor, and my opinion then dropped to them, no offense, but I went to ABBA. So really, I am going to have to side with the artist on this one. But the GOATs have done a fantastic job on stream of looking, I think, promising, because not all of their wins were broadcast, and I still thought they were fantastic. And that was one of the points that B raised, was that this team has played for a long time together. They were the same team in the last Esports League, but they were also together before that at the university. And seeing this still translate, and that kind of cohesion, that synergy, it's definitely shown up, I think, on stream. So for me, knowing that, being able then to spot it in tonight's game is what I'm excited for, regardless of the result or where you're from, being Bangor.
Absolutely. No, you're spot on there, Brett. There is obviously some allegiances falling into universities and places across Wales, which I think only makes things more exciting. For someone like me, who's just from humble progeny with no allegiances on either side, I'm very excited to see how both get on. But as you rightfully said there, these guys have been playing together for a while now on the GOATs, and that's promising to see. I was watching the stream on the LCS last week, and they were saying how some players just have this natural, no communication needed approach to plays, and you can tell from just watching it, the engages and certain approaches and just ways that the players bounce off each other. There's no need for communication. Of course, it's absolutely paramount that your team has a good working relationship with good communication, but there's that level up, I feel like, where players have that no need for communication, which is quite exciting to see. And just having that instantaneous, especially for a bot laner, we're going in here, or we're going to go look for a potential pick, or we're just going to lean towards the jungle, go towards Baron, go towards Dragon, whatever it is, having that communication that often doesn't need to be spoken, which comes from years and months and weeks of playing together. And that's really exciting to see. So I'm excited to see if they've built up that confidence with one another. I feel like they definitely have, but to what extent, I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, right. And again, it's up against the artists here, who were somewhat favoured coming into the split. So for them to have fallen out from second place here, but still in great contention for third. Of course, GOATs last split were in contention for third, maybe even first as well. It's quite exciting for them to be in this position again, where they're trying to get those top spots. And against the artists, I feel like it's a great team to do it with. So perhaps then we can take a look at the artists before we get into draft, which is not far off. And begin to explore maybe what the artists are going to do in this draft to upset this high synergy, high spirit team in the GOATs.
Yeah, absolutely. No, of course, we've been talking a lot about the GOATs and their creative draft picking, but I'm really excited to see how the draft comes through for the artists as well. It's going to be exciting. I feel like, we're hoping to see maybe coming out of that mid lane, there might be a potential of an Akali coming through, some exciting, skillful play. Of course, you've seen Akali come through quite a lot of times, but it's a champion that if you're good at it, you can do incredibly well, push through mid and do an incredible job of getting around the map, making really exciting, flashy plays. Hopefully we see something like that come out in the mid lane. I imagine we might, going off the game history, but not a guarantee, of course. And if that's not a guarantee, what is the substitute for the mid lane? It's very exciting to see as well. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in the mid lane. Of course, we're so used to seeing these mage matchups, which is safe, solid, and a real stable way to approach a mid lane matchup. But if we see these assassins come through, it can only be exciting. And for a game like this, with teams with confidence coming in, I won't be against an assassin matchup in the mid lane.
Right, and it's a lot more likely now. Because I think there's been a lot more time on pro now with 13-13, and it's kind of given maybe players some inspiration. Rel's been a big pick. Things like Tristana, since Kaita's been building more AP and such in the bot lane, there's a lot more AD mids, J Solution, to name a couple, Tristana as well. Worthy of note, however, we, of course, on live patch on servers are on 13-14, so things like the Rek'Sai have been hit. That was pretty potent before. The Rel I just mentioned as well had been tuned down. Of course, a lot of changes to systems, such as like the blue buff, but most importantly, I think Ghost and Gale Force are the large ones to be hit. So AD carries, again, have been given less tools, right? They've been tuned down back again. So maybe there is more leniency towards crazier bot lanes, maybe a bit creative Ziggs, untouched, still looking good on 13-13, perhaps even better 13-14. Maybe more objective focus like that than team fighting around your carry, because it's not going to be as strong or as potent anymore. But of course, it comes back to what the GOATS team synergy was about. And to me, they looked pretty all right on Kai'Sa. Goma Boy definitely had some fine performances on it. Kai'Sa hasn't been hit, so definitely, as you say, maybe room for some assassins in that mid lane. This might be a good patch for it.
You're quite right. No, you're absolutely spot on there, Brett. And I really just want to briefly touch upon watching a lot of interviews with professional players and them all judging who the most important role is. And of course, there's no unanimous decision, but a lot of them were surprisingly saying ADC. And they were saying, of course, if your ADC's got no hands, you're never ever going to win the game. And I just want to briefly talk about the GOATs. B said, of course, they've all got quite a lot of flex, players in their team, which is exciting. Who will end up in that AD carry role will be quite important, I feel like, coming into this. Such a high priority on bot lane champions. Kai'Sa coming through quite a lot. Ash seeing quite a lot of pickup as well recently. But I'm excited to see it. And of course, B mentioned, hope I don't display any cheeky tactics, but I don't feel like he'll have too much of a priority in this draft. But, you know, people like Graves coming through as an AD carry potentially, or something even more crazy.
That is crazy.
There is a bit of creativity to be had, but I feel like a bot lane and a strong AD carry, especially towards the late game. If they do get that far, whether they have something a little bit more chaotic between the early game and the mid game where it's already decided come 20 minutes where the game's going into live. But should we get to that late game, it's always that late game insurance is your AD carry. You know, you expect them to be peeled well and deal incredible amount of damage towards the late game. And that's where I feel like Kai'Sa really shines, that late game. The mix of AD, the mix of AP, having the enhanced, increased abilities. Real potent.
Yeah, triple evolve has always been a threat, right? Because it gives you so much room to play around. You get the opportunity to pick your style in the moment, right? Poke from afar, scrap and scrounge around, maybe assassinate someone with invisibility, and of course you got great repositioning, right? So you can fight quite traditionally as an AD carry as well. Kai'Sa, I think, is always on the cusp of being broken for those reasons, or at least in consideration for the meta, just because she brings so much as an AD carry. So of course I expect to see Kai'Sa probably rear her head, whether it's a ban or a pick. I 100% expect to see it. So now that we're getting even closer to draft, perhaps we can then talk about how we expect this one to evolve. We have, I believe, the GOATs on blue side, so they will get their first pick.
Absolutely, as you say there, of course, the GOATs having that first pick in draft. Where will it go? Again, it's really exciting, I feel like, for a team, as we mentioned before, which have a lot of flex players. There's no real one tried, fast, hard proof way that they're going to approach this draft, which makes it exciting. I'm wondering whether they vie into a solo laner, have a real strong blind solo lane, someone with a lot of confidence. There's great players on the GOAT. They might want to buy into a solo pick blind. It's risky, but if you've got a bit of confidence going into this game, why not? Why not blind that first solo laner pick? It could be a jungler, could be top mid. We'll have to wait and see.
As we are headed into draft, our long awaited for this one, of course, our only game of today and our last game coverage for the whole season. The fight for third between our 2-2 teams, and we're quite excited to see it. And I'll give B's words here to the artist being good luck. And it's going to start here with the draft. Akali for your Thresh taken away, and the quick replies being Aatrox, Maokai, and Yasuo. So I think these teams already have a good idea of what the other teams want to play. Of course, they've had a lot of tape so far this season, a lot of scrims throughout the 4 weeks as well. What's those first picks going to be, do you reckon?
Absolutely, and they're hovering the set tier. A nice flexible pick for a very flexible team. And won't hate this as a first pick here on the side of the GOATs. And it is a set their first pick. Excited to see, because we don't know too well exactly where this will end up. It could, of course, vie into the jungle, could go in towards the lane. But then Kai'Sa and the AD carry and Gragas picked up again, more flexible than most champions. So again, excited to see exactly where that lies up. But of course, the Kai'Sa real high priority. No AD carries banned out in the first round of picks there. Yeah. So exciting to see the Kai'Sa come through there. No surprise.
Not a surprise at all. I think maybe the more surprising thing about Kai'Sa getting picked is that she hasn't been banned. I was watching the LEC just before we went live here, and it was like, wow, Kai'Sa got picked. Kai'Sa won the game. Who's surprised? And it's just felt like that pattern. And I know the pros know more about it than me, but as a viewer, when I see it, it's like, oh, they picked Kai'Sa, they're probably going to win. And then they do. It feels very confirming that this champion is overtuned and seeing it play as well. Well, that person died to 2 Ws, or they won a fight because somebody wasn't there. We're going to have to make sure that we're being cautious of those praise seekers all around here for the GOATs, because, of course, Kai'Sa, we've seen it many a time before, can blow up and out those open games, can clinch a comeback, really describe the ways that she can do it. So Kai'Sa being locked, along with that Gragas who can run disruption, Nautilus perfectly good for lane, that Kai'Sa is definitely set up here for success.
Absolutely, as you say there, that Kai'Sa, I feel like getting a lot of love and attention, a lot of abilities to peel this Kai'Sa, a real high priority defensive target here, of course, on the side. The artists wanted to keep Kai'Sa on the back line away from the great engage that we have here on the side of the Ghost of the Rakan. The Rek'Sai, of course, you briefly mentioned before, a great means of getting into that back line with the ultimate.
Left on this patch, down, still successful.
Jumping straight in. And the Lao we have here, the draft's coming to a conclusion. And we have here a Camille in the top lane, which I've not seen in a little while, but I'm very excited to see it come out, of course. A very stable pick.
Yes.
Probably going here into the set in the top lane. So very excited to see this game, of course.
Yeah.
A nice rounded draft for the side of the artists. Again, a real priority on peeling the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, right. That's going to basically be their win conditions, making sure Kai'Sa does not get free reign. There is maybe the threat of the Gragas. I'm assuming he's going to go Night Harvester. And of course, Victor, Camille aren't short on damage. I love the way you describe Camille. Staple. I had this discussion with a friend. She's never felt like she's been a bad champion. Like, I can't imagine her ever having below 50% win ratio, because she does over 50% of your health as true damage. That's just makes sense to me, right? So, of course, the set, yes, he's got a massive shield. That's maybe the best way to deal with Camille. Of course, she can buy so much time around dodging through that shield. She has an unstoppable herself, so she can interact with the showstopper. Probably a fairly healthy pick here into the set. I am going to point out as well, the highlight there, Rek'Sai can interrupt the wall dive from Camille, can also interrupt the body slam from Gragas. Rek'Sai has a surprising amount of niche within this draft as well. She's going to have to be careful, however, about that Nautilus, of course, who can just hook through a bush and not really give her too much means of escape. And of course, the Kai'Sa can jump in on that. So Rek'Sai, I think, going to be, unsurprisingly, a very important component to this draft. But I'm not going to forget the Ziggs and Xayah here. Of course, paired with Rakan as well, is going to be a little bit extra potent. It's not as though GOATs have to only play backwards when we see this composition. And we consider that Xayah Rakan is a viable fight into Kai'Sa. She's not going to go down. I was going to say dying, then got stuck on flying. She's going to go out flying no matter what she's doing, right?
Yeah.
And Xayah Kai'Sa, of course, if anyone's been watching League of Legends long enough to see 2018, 2019 meta, it was Xayah Kai'Sa, and it was fantastic. It got boring after a while, but I don't think anybody was upset after Aphelios to see Xayah Kai'Sa again, and I'm not here either.
No, quite right. Absolutely. Of course, always with that Xayah, she's got that feathers fly. She's got that one escape card always in her back pocket when it comes to a team fight. And with a team like this, with a Nautilus, a really telegraphed ultimate coming through, whether it's directly placed on Xayah or whether there's Nautilus wants to line it up with another champion for her to be caught in the midst of it. But if the Nautilus directly pops the ultimate onto Xayah, really easy way and telegraphed means of getting out of that via her untargetable ult. There are means of her to decide what is most important there. The casks, of course, from Gragas. Or, of course, if she happens to fall silly into a field from Victor. And, of course, as well, the field ultimate from Camille can be ever so potent for locking down any of the champions on the enemy team. We can't forget about that great mobility that Camille has, the great damage, as you mentioned, the great ultimate. It's a real all-around great champion that can really lock down any of those champions. It might not just be the Xayah, it might be the Ziggs, who of course is incredibly squishy. And as much as that satchel charge, he might want to use to get out of a Camille ult. Unfortunately, doesn't quite do the trick. So could be a target as well there for the Camille, should she get priority in the top lane against the set. Maybe start to roam down with that Gragas towards the mid lane and start to make some chaos ensue, because Camille has great gank opportunities with her mobility. So be excited to see if she can gain priority, but we'll have to wait and see if the Rek'Sai will let that happen in the top lane.
I don't think it's strange for us to mention how this early game might just be dictated by the junglers, right? They have very nice immobile champions, I think, as you mentioned, in that mid lane. Victor, not really got any escapes Rek'Sai happy to take the gravity field because Victor's going to be knocked up at the same duration, right? By the time Rek'Sai's closed that gap, Ziggs happy to then lay a bomb on top of it, not a problem. Gragas, same story, right? Layers the CC with the gravity field off the back of the body slam. Ziggs is going to have to react in time to dodge that one. It's really like free pickings there in the mid, but as you mentioned, right, top lane might be the more volatile. Maybe neither player wants to put their chips into mid lane, so maybe it is going all bot lane. You already mentioned that the AD carries are perhaps the highlight of the players at the moment in terms of win conditions. So, yeah, of course, naturally keeping an eye on junglers.
Spot on. Yeah, you're spot on there, Brett. And I feel like every time you manage to get a Rakan Xayah bot lane and the enemy, when you either blind the bot lane Xayah, you either blind the Rakan, and you don't happen to get the other pairing, but they have got it here. And of course, that's because the enemy team, the artists, have meant that they've managed to get their selective pick with the Nautilus, with the Kai'Sa, which makes total sense. Of course, great peel potential. But you've got to be feeling a little bit good. I always feel good as an AD carry main when I get that Rakan locked in beside my Xayah. Something about it that, you can do great things with the synchronized recall. A few enhancements on the W there as well, of course, can mean exciting things. Ever so niche advantages, of course. It's not huge advantages for having the pairing in the bot lane, but it's always nice to have that. And when it comes to a bot lane as volatile as this, potentially, I feel like 1 centimeter can be turned into a mile. So we'll have to wait and see how they both go up against one another.
Yeah, it's of course one of those things, like you say, you just kind of have to wait and see, because we can talk about it all day. We've talked about it before and been wrong. We've talked about it before and been pleasantly surprised. So as we transition here onto the Rift, we're going to get finally some of those answers. And we already see some stacking going on, which is not something we've seen all of a lot of the artists here running all 5 down the red side of the map here, trying to find and prey upon someone. The hook is the perfect tool to do it. Goma Boy might just be the perfect victim for it. The ward dropped into the bush, but yeah, the team here happy just to start. And you see, I love that the goats have on the way pings to the Nexus already. It's 45 seconds in and they're feeling good.
Absolutely. No, I really do actually like this from the goat. The start is one solid wall on their side of the map, and the blue side of the map. They're just covering all angles for that Gragas to be making his way into any sort of invade there into the enemy side of the map. But everything is covered. A ward is dropped there in the top side of the map. And of course, Set is doing sit-ups, because what else do you do when you wait for something to happen to Set? But I must know, he's only doing it by pressing it once and not spamming it and doing hundreds of sit-ups. But
it's the slow burn. It builds bigger muscle, right? You do the fast ones to warm yourself up, short, easy ones, and then you get into the long ones with a strong, tough stomach line. And he's going to need it, right, facing into this Camille. He has at least the passive. I love here as well. He's opted into the Hail of Blade. So he's looking for those quick trades before Camille can extend them, of course, with the wall dive and chase him down. So we're going to have to keep our eyes here towards this top lane. I think there's a fair amount of mastery for both these players on these champions as well. These aren't just team utility picks. These are comfort picks as well for these top laners. So with that in consideration, the Hail of Blades and the sit-ups as well to contribute to help him win. I want to keep my eyes going on here. Bone plating option for the Camille as well. So she's going to be able to endure some of that Hail of Blades, because I think the cooldown's roughly the same time for bone plating as Hail of Blades. Fun little fact. So perhaps we get a little bit of bonus action out of this game outside of the jungler's pathing. And of course, spotted here on this ward.
That's it there. Gragas spotted there on the Raptors. The Rek'Sai is in good knowledge now. Of course, the Yoshi knowing exactly where this Gragas will be heading next. Is it a potential mid lane gank? It might well be.
Very Mustard should know he's here. The body slam flashed away from, as I said, it's going to have to be respectful and react in time. There is now a flashless Ziggs, and that is free money should he come and visit again. No flash spent here from the Gragas, so opportunity there for the artist, straight out of the gate.
It really, really is there, of course. I mean, it's not game over for Barry Mustard. Of course, if he lands that satchel charge in a great position, he can get himself out of any danger. But of course, it means potentially to disengage the jungler ganking, disengage himself, or of course miss it altogether, which would be really, really disastrous there. But a flashless Ziggs is a real big issue there. But a TP back to the top lane for the set. and vying into. I didn't quite see where he started, but he's got a kill there with no farm, so I presume he's vying in there too.
Yep.
The kill, which is absolutely brilliant there. You know, to take it slow in the top lane. But I do love the Halo Blade, as you mentioned there. The left, right, of course, already increased there on that champion with his passive. And
yeah, he's going to be marching with his fist, but at the moment we have the artist marching forward after the dredge line, going to find a route back there onto Kai'Sa, which is going to dissuade the engage, and no Gragas able to get his body in the door in that gank. So a good evasion there by the goats.
And here goes the Rek'Sai. Is caught in vision though, Camille.
Just going to happily and cheekily wall dive out of that one, not a problem, Camille. As we mentioned, plenty of agency to help the gank, but also, of course, to keep herself safe in that very long lane up top.
Absolutely, and surprisingly here, the Gragas hovering around the mid lane in the comfortable mindset of a flashless Ziggs, but the wave is towards that Ziggs there. I don't think much can happen here, but just in case something does go awry, the Gragas is there to make maneuvers. But we have to make a note here that the difference in ward coverage here already for this map. Of course, the artist got a lot of priority and a lot of urgency there for the bot side of the map, and the opposite there for the goats, of course, with the coverage towards the top side of the map. But Gragas is caught here on the tri-bush, and Rek'Sai is here.
Yeah, they don't know Rek'Sai's here, not crossed any of that red side coverage. It's going to be 1v1 in the jungle. In the meantime, bot lane is beginning to move up to try and help with this one. That chomp does 50 less damage on this patch, but Gragas isn't going to care about that because he has the reduced healing as well. So they're both nerfed, and they're both going to walk away from that one, no problem. Bot lane going to even out as well. However, I will point out there is almost a double CS advantage for this Kai'Sa already. We haven't quite seen how that one's going up. I assume it's just the better wave management here from Ringo and Con, being able to con them out some of this CS. We'll dive here from Camille. Going to have to force a Haymaker soon out of this set. Gets the Halo Blaze. There it is. Flash away Asphyxia, not wanting to take that true damage punch to the face at range. So a summoner advantage now for the set. TP already burnt on Camille as well.
Absolutely, no. It's such a shame there with the set coming into the set. You feel like you're doing really well. You've got him quite low. He's in lethal range, but of course you can never disregard that incredible Haymaker damage and mild shield you get as well from it. Of course, great spell there to turn the tide of any fight, but great priority here from the Camille in the top lane, vying into 2 long swords, so the damage is not to be sniffled at there with the Camille, of course, the set vying instead to the Cull, taking a slow, more gold efficient route.
Oh, Showstopper bringing in here and a wall dive out again. An ultimate exchanged for none, I think. So maybe another opportunity for Camille, but of course set with that Doran's shield plus passive is going to be fairly healthy. Plus the Cull to punch some of these minions, bringing them back. Could be in trouble here. Facebreaker bringing in Asphyxia. No wall dive available. Flash forward from set is going to be securing that one as the wall dive was hoping to get away, but this time the sucker punch lands.
And that's got to hurt there for the Camille there. Of course, a big punch to the face. The wave is pushing against her. Slight CS disadvantage there for the Camille, but of course the gold on top of the Cull there, going into the back pocket of the set, on top of that first blood there. This is something positive there. It did seem like a lane advantage, or at least a wave advantage there for the Camille, but things can level out here by the looks of it in the top lane there. Great to see that first blood lie into the pocket of a set. Not a bad person to get it on by any means.
No, man, he's got some great ult targets throughout this game, of course. Kai'Sa wants to end up in that back line. He could just have her show stopped right then and there. If he gets too close to that set, or of course the set can bring the own peel bodies for that Kai'Sa on top of herself and make life difficult. So that 400 gold could go a long way here for the goats in bringing home this 3rd place for them. We see here jungler in the vicinity can tunnel through should this wave get any further, but in the meantime Berry Mustard going to get taken out in the 1 versus 2, almost able to trade one back, had just gotten back to lane, hasn't got that lost chapter, and this Victor up CS already could now be up a plate shortly. This wave's going to be under as well. Not a good look there for goats in the mid lane.
It really, really is, and I've just got to know as well, the Rek'Sai, of course, on the side of the goats, Ninja Yoshi, always around that bot perimeter of the map, being mindful of the potential disadvantage that they have here in the bot lane. It seems to the CS to level up somewhat, still a huge advantage on the side of the Kai'Sa, but the wave continues to push towards the blue side of the map, and Ninja Yoshi being mindful of that, potential engages to be had there. The tri-brush shield makes its way through, but of course nothing being produced just yet. Ninja Yoshi being picked up on the redwood there, picked up his pathing, going towards the top side of the map now. Nothing really to pick up. terms of any Camille. Look at that CS difference there.
Yep.
Starting to rack up quite considerably, despite the wave being pushed towards the set. That amount of CS is nothing to be picking your nose up against, because it's quite a big advantage, and you've got to consider the cull as well. 1 extra gold every minion you get, and of course that cash out you get at the end of that cull. It's going to be quite a considerable gold advantage in the next couple of minutes, I imagine, for this set.
Yeah, it's about 280 gold because you sell the coal for 180. And then, of course, you get the cash in, which is like the value of the coal back. I forgot what the number is. It's been a little while since I've looked at it. But I know it's like good, right? It's close to a kill. It's an extra couple waves. And, of course, getting that back and teleporting in means that coal's going to be cashed in time without having to give up too much, because that TP is soon available as well. So there isn't really anything he would have TP to that he's missed out on so far, because, of course, you can't really TP to anything until that 10-minute mark anyway. So the set, of course, First Blood as well, looking quite happy. And as you mentioned, that CS advantage, but of course, a CS advantage is reduplicated in reverse to add long words to the problem for that bot lane. And of course, mid up CS as well, but Rek'Sai bringing it back. So really, it's in a good amount of flux, and we'll see who comes out trumps. Flash away from Victor here on top of the Rek'Sai, looking to get some distance, and it is enough distance to get the tower grand entrance. And whiff there from the Rakan, looking for a little bit more. Pulled the trigger, missed the shot, but still a flash burn in the mid lane. Opportunity there for goes in the future.
And I don't hate that there from the Ghost, looking towards the mid side of the map, because I feel like if they can get somewhat of a slight mid priority, even just for a second, this Ziggs can make his way down to the bottom side and even just start to look at making that bomb play with his ultimate down the bottom side of the map. Just enough AP there to deal a considerable amount of damage. I feel like that could be just enough for the Rek'Sai ganking bot to pick up the kill in the backside of the in the back pocket there of the Xayah, which would be great for them to have that slight advantage. But of course, with the dominance that Victor is having in the mid lane, it's hard for that Ziggs to make any moves down towards that bot lane, just having to lose too many minions. So I like that there, hoping to alleviate a little bit of pressure in the mid lane, and then hopefully into towards the bot lane.
Yeah, of course. Good thing you mentioned that, Victor, because he's going to be at least one evolution at this point. With 100 CS, has the kill as well, which I think is another 50 points, or is it 25? I forget which way around it is. It's like 25 for assist, but they I'm unsure. But he's at least at one of those evolutions. Kai'Sa going to be reaching for evolutions as well herself, so this composition from the side of the artist is going to be scaling fantastically well. And of course, Camille never really going to be short on true damage at some point, so she's not really ever going to be a point where she's fallen off. And especially from behind, she's going to hit a point kind of like a 10 death Yasuo does, where she can just blow up a Xayah if she has feathers down, if she hasn't got people to peel for her. At the moment, she needs to peel for herself again, flashing away from a face breaker, which is then opportunity for Serotonin to get in there. Tower shots, really just opportunity for him to stack his haymaker at this point, so Spixie going to have to be careful and drop another wave. So I love how this game at the moment is just a mix of advantages. We saw it there, a bit of that ebb and flow. Goats pull the trigger in the mid lane, they blow some ultimates. Opportunity then seized by the artists. They group, they take that dragon, knowing that the Goats had spent their, how to put it, tempo token. And speaking of tempo token, Wish for Hopes landing a lot of damage there with his first item, and of course upgraded spells just going to chip Berry Mustard out. So of course if he gets hooked by this Nautilus Haze and Trouble Kitcher here, looking to cover him in that eventuality. Seems the Rek'Sai's here to look to make a play as well. Knocked back into the wall, knocked up into the air, knocked up and charmed as well on top of the bomb. Now looking for Con, who's here to help it out, is instead helping out the Goats. Going to bleed out for another 300 gold, this one going over to Berry Mustard, and that's 2 kills for the Goats in the mid lane, reading the map beautifully.
Oh, brilliant, and no kills there going towards the Ricard. We'll be happy with that on the side of the Goats, of course. The mythic advantage was on the side of the Victor there, that Luden's Echo's dealing so much damage. Of course, pushing Berry Mustard behind his own tower with the ultimate, but hopefully this alleviates a little bit of pressure. It's a well-needed alleviation there in the mid lane, of course. The Rakan always looking towards that mid side of the map, and it's finally paying off for Keisha there, which is great to see on the side of the Goats. So some mild advantages now coming through this game, which are starting to take shape, and advantages start to fall into play.
It's also advantages being recovered, right? We mentioned before those CS differences. It has now shrunk in that bot lane, as though it's about to grow, because that static shift is in place for that Kai'Sa, worthy of note. Top lane's really the only one that has a really notable one anymore, or like at least the largest at healthy 40 and growing, but Worshipped here and Korn have different ideas about how this one's going to evolve. The Showstopper perfectly placed to help him get out from the body slam. Hook's going to go wide, but put him in the way of the tower. The face break brings in 3. The passive there from Camille going to keep her alive from the Haymaker. Wall dive going to be there on the back of the dredge line. Hook and Barrel sinks that set and shuts him down.
And everyone did so well there. Of course, the Gragas trying to predict with the body slam, and then of course they've said coming through so well to get out as well. Use the flash at the exact right time, but of course they're 3 against 1. It's never a fair fight. It's one you would never want to take. And there they have it with a bit of top lane priority. They're looking towards this. No, they don't mind taking it. There's a little bit of pressure there, of course, the Rakan and the Ziggs.
Yeah, they were looking for the Herald, but they might have found a fight instead. Body Slam going to find his way onto Kija. The engage tools used to get out as the goats find themselves looking to contest for something. Nijiyoshi clicking back in through the tunnel here as the set arrives, is able to get some revenge on that 3 versus 1. It's the double kill. The Rek'Sai getting stuck in the gravity field, looking to chase for more. Kija doing the wraparound, wishful hopes here, but it could be Kija stuck in the 1 versus 2 instead. Unable to get the charm to land. The dive from the Camille trades 2 back as well. It's looking now forward, flashing away from the gravity, knocking up Silence. Unstoppable. Going to get stuck inside the hex field of the Camille. Is chasing for now. The Kai'Sa, the Xayah, sorry, is here. Kai'Sa is not, and Asphyxia is the one having to flash away because of that. Goma Boy looking to chase it down with the feathers, putting 2-3 auto attacks into it, chasing with the Prey Seeker, looking for the Void Seeker. Maybe Camille, no, not going to get out. Does so over the wall with a wall dive off cooldown. So I think in the end, a 2-for-3 exchange. But the real winner here is Ringo, having done nothing, gets himself the tower.
Well, I'd say he didn't buy into going towards that top side of the map. Stayed bar, continued brushing his hands with all the gold he's picking up there. As of course, you mentioned the stack Shiv, the lane pushing tower is unbelievable. And of course, picking up the first tower of this game, which is not going to be bad at all. There for the Kai'Sa, of course, of the evolves coming in very shortly. More and more evolves, and it's going to be exciting to see this Kai'Sa's damage. It's going to be quite a surprising amount of damage when Ringo Starr vies into the first team fight, but the second here on the side of the artists.
And it's an Infernal nonetheless. That's an extra, I think, still 4% additional damage of each AP and AD for all of those members, and it's a Chem Soul that we're going to be rewarded with, which means action for the teams. It's tenacity, and that's additional damage on lower life. So perfect, I think, for the game we want here, where it's bloody. And so far, pleasantly even, right? There's been a good amount of action, but it's always been replied with, even not in the moment, but on the next line of tempo, somebody's gotten something. So the Heralds is still to play for. See the jungler's pathing up here, but we see some more action here in the middle. Feathers not being withdrawn, so just a chip out here, and Ringo getting out alive, but both summoners spent for it. You see, Nijiyoshi looking to use this priority, is going to find Worship with the Tremor Sense, and is just going to get away, and might get the Herald for this one. Maybe Camille, if she gets stuck in the river, but she doesn't yet belong. But yeah, just a win here for the Goats, so they advance on that mid tower.
Absolutely, and it's lovely to see the mid laners going down to that bot lane of the map. Of course, Kai'Sa and the Nautilus then going against the Lovers duo in the mid lane there to have a great ability to be able to reply to any aggression that appears, whether that be in the top lane or the bot lane of the map. That duo in the mid lane is great to have that flexibility to play, to get a numbers advantage somewhere. But as you say there, the Rift Herald finds its first home and it falls onto the side of the Goats. And with that Rek'Sai there, which is 3, 0, and 2. So this Rek'Sai with the Stride Breaker going to be dealing quite a lot of damage. So quite promising to see there for the side.
Yep, in spite of the nerfs as well, and I guess would be 100% kill participation if Set wasn't so good at being Set and got that first blood. So really the only silver lining to not having 100% kill participation is because you got solo kill for the team, which is pretty good result really. So the Goats are looking quite happy as this game goes forward, but it's not, of course, without the artists having tools in their pockets. We mentioned Kai'Sa here has got static, well on the way to the Nash's now, has got 2 evolves, I think, for the Victor with that CS number and the additional points from those kill participations. So currently the artist looking strong and about to be getting stronger, which is, I think, the concern here for Goats. Staring down 2 Drakes as well. It's really hard to say who's on the better foot here.
It really, really is. No, of course, I think it's it's absolutely paramount that the artists have been so good with their objective priority for Dragon. Getting 2 dragons there really does give them a slight comfort, because of course if they happen to, as we can see here, clear out a little bit of vision, it's still 2 minutes to go into the dragon, but being mindful that if they get that 3rd dragon, they're looking at the Eye of a Soul, which is going to be huge for them. Of course, it's looking like a Chemtech Soul there, which is a lovely thing to have there on your side of the fence. So we'll see if they can get that 3rd dragon. The goats are going to be having to consider that, of course, because I feel like currently in the state of the map, we normally assume top lane with being an island, but at this point in time, with the 2 mid laners at the bottom side of the map, it seemed like a slight orientation now, being mindful of the bot lane sides. But yeah, there's a lot of places to go, and I feel like the big place to go is going to be that dragon pick.
Ooh, that's what comes of this one. As the flash behind from Serotonin is going to cause the flash out from Asphyxia, getting stopped under the tower. And that's the end of that one. But I love how you say here there is going to be a lot of action around this Drake. As you say, this one is going to be spawning Baron, soon to be on the cards as well. The Herald has yet to have been dropped here from Ninjayoshi. Did sneak that one away a little while ago, so there is definitely something brewing here. I'll see if the Herald gets spawned first. If they're going to look for some action, it could be a pressure point they looked to utilize ahead of this Drake and try to stop that one from being stacked against their favor. As you say, you want it on your side of the fence. And the goats, well, they love chewing things on the other side of the fence. They're trying to get at their grass that is being touched. The dragons is the metaphor here for the grass, and looking to get some blades of their own. I don't know if we can get production here to toggle the gold, which would be nice to view. There's the Herald spawned, and it is got Ziggs backing that one up, but it might just be Victor taking that 25 gold for himself, but it had to be dropped eventually. That is putting Victor perhaps in a precarious position. It'd be nice to see that being attacked, but yeah, here we are with the gold. You can see the Kaiser is definitely the one ahead. Mid is largely ahead as well, so if there is going to be fight around any of these objectives, I think Goats absolutely have to be either playing in the side lane or bringing Set to the party. They can't, I think, succeed without performing one of those things. Of course, Rek'Sai going to be the other win condition there as well. Not that Kaiser's useless, sorry, Xayah's useless, it's just that Kaiser's more useful, I think is the way to describe it.
No, quite right, and it's so hard here for the side of the Goats. Of course, losing that bot lane tower means that Victor can easily push deep into the blue side of the map, and of course, with that wave being pushed so deep onto the blue side of the map, it does mean the artist if you're good to react to this dragon, but Goats are here.
Good. Dragon's already getting low, and Ninjayoshi getting stuck the other side of the wall, and does succeed in Smite stealing it, has to flash out the other side, but the fight looks to be coming through here. Charm going over the Wolfen Feature, going to stop the members from getting over the pit. The Dragon Wall is the biggest friend of the Goats. They're going to draw the TP out from Set as well. A lot's happened.
A lot happened, and even though the Set didn't manage to get anything done in that team fight, the TP alone was enough of the errors for the artists there. But as we say there, of course, they do almost get that 3rd dragon. It did look like it was going into their back pocket, but the Goats and Ninjayoshi managing to get into the pit and managing to smite steal that one away there. So great there to alleviate a little bit of pressure as it stands. Of course, taking this tempo card, as you said, and then using it in the mid lane. And
yeah, showstopper used Haymaker yet. Flash away from Kaiser here, but going to find the Void Seeker, but this time it's chumped by Rakan, who's able to tank that one with the Battle Dance shields. It is now the movement speed from Wishful Hopes hit on the back of that TP, looking to chase, but these blast cones from the Chemdrake are going to keep them safe. They're able to burn their spells, lose out some of this tempo, but we have here Camille unpushed. Going to find a Rek'Sai looking to wrap this one around, but is just going to have to push this one away. Worshipped here, definitely deep in the jungle. Goma Boy here, able to tank that tower and take up this minion wave. So it is tempo from the overpush here from Goats, and looks like they're going to punish it by trying to take this Baron. Ninjayoshi going to be glued onto this one with the Tremor Sense. Such a useful ability. And so it was also tense for a moment as each team seemed to be almost leaking over an advantage that could be game winning at this point, but still fairly even. And Baron's on the cards as well. I think it's maybe even closer than it looks.
It was, and I just love that there from the artists. Of course, they didn't manage to get a kill, but they did manage to get those champions low on the side of the Goat, and they had to sacrifice 2 recalls back to their base, and they were mindful of those recalls, and they thought, we can actually go take the Baron here with our numbers advantage. But as you say there, the Rek'Sai has got this amazing 6th sense of figuring out where people are, whether he can see them or not, or whether she can see them or not, of course. And as you see, the Tremor Sense there does allow the Rek'Sai to know that they're going to be looking at the Baron, and nothing does fall. It gets to one case, I feel like, in this game where there's a huge advantage to be taken, and it just seems to kind of plateau and equal out every single time. So no real advantage to be had on either side of the map here. Clear advantages to be had for both teams, and it's just playing through their strong champions, which, again, that set, despite falling there, I still feel like it's a complete menace. That CF, the Spear of Sojourn as well, and the Stride Breaker coming through. It's a lot of damage to be had there on that set.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned the Spear of Sojourn. A lot of champions now bringing out their second items, which brings a lot more punch and a lot more fire to these fights. Can be a lot more explosive now as well, especially since Baron's on the cards. Both of these teams, of course, reminding you all at home that they are fighting for third place here, top podium finish for the season. This is their last game to do it, of course. Tied, so there's literally up to both these teams to bring themselves home to that placement, which would be fantastic at the end of 4 weeks of work. So no member here really wants to be the one overstepping it, especially at this point in the game where it can suddenly balloon, right? When a game is so close, we see it all the time currently in Pro, it can be quite a tempered early game. It can be quite ebb and flow where everyone has appropriately read the map, they understand the positions and placements, but it's as soon as that person makes that mistake, that's then a Baron, that's then an extra set of towers, there may be an objective bounty or a shutdown, and the game then just like almost ends at that point, and Con getting the worst of it. That could have been one of those mistakes. Nautilus gone is a lot of the engage on the side of the artists that they need to use it to get onto their key members, like the set, almost out the picture, and that could have almost then been the Baron, but does so escape, and we are back to the tension.
We are, and the Camille have switched sides there with the Victor, and they're going towards that bot lane there to push it out. The Victor's looking towards the top lane. Yeah. And as you can see on the side of the goats, both their tier 1 towers, both top and bot, is down, leaving a good push with the flash.
Yeah, good response there from Wishful. Recognizing, of course, we highlighted the Victor is a fairly attackable champion, especially the long lane of that top side. It's going to be a lot harder to get onto a Camille with a wall dive. You saw her in that replay, well, not replay, but in the moments just before from the pan of the camera, able to get out. But we see clearly the objective here now from the artist is to set up this vision. You highlighted it before this game. It has yielded them 2 drakes before, nearly the third. They're definitely going to want to be more sure about securing this one. TP available for Victor playing on that top side of the map. They could choose to attack him here and play for this Baron instead, but look like they're going to contest for the soul point on this one, clearing out some of this vision, grouping this time earlier to be played, and the objective, all the members here are just about group. Kuja engaged on and gets away. No ultimates yet spent. The dragon being pulled out of the pit. Remember, it's a Chem Soul. TP spent here from set, trying to get into this one. Victor nowhere to be seen because he's already walked it and is on the vision. Is Goma Boy the one being chumped out by the Chaos Storm? That one is spent. He's actually almost dead. No feathers flown yet either. Going to be healing up here from the Chem Fruit, and on the front side of the fight, it is a hook there onto Rek'Sai, going to be blown up. 2 item Kai'Sa doing a lot of damage. Unstoppable going to buy some time, but it is Kai'Sa flying into the back, looking to find Baron Mustard. That's 2 down already on the side of the Ghost, but take a look at the top side of the fight instead. It is Camille shredding, going to have flesh away again from the Haymaker, but again, it is Kai'Sa untouched, getting free reign in that fight with the Killer Instinct, and it is the Assassin looking to secure this dragon. A smite should do it. It is available. Not available! As 1 kill there from the Kai'Sa. Smite does come up in time and takes that one away. Very Mustard able to get one back, but that is a win for the artist.
It really, really is, and that Camille always holding that flash for that Haymaker, being totally respectful of that damage it can deal. And they're looking here, the artist, they've taken this tempo card and they're going to access it in the top lane. Going for this Baron, there's a good chance that they can get this, of course. The bomb does come out from the Ziggs.
Yeah, going to be checking out some of the members here. Worsh actually getting low. I don't know if they can hold on to this one. He's getting chipped. Kuja here going to spot this one out with the blast cone being extended. Wishful Hope's going to grant space for Kuja here to clear out some of this vision. Rek'Sai in the vicinity as well. Realize it's dissipated. Tunnels back towards the Wolves, and we are continuing to brew towards a close as this game remains even and swinging, and I love it.
That Mega Inferno bomb was just what they needed there to keep them off that Baron there. This poke ability from the Ziggs can't be disregarded. The Lude into the Seraphs is a nice bit of damage there. And of course, as we saw, dropping those bombs over into the Dragon Pit there did mean to take down that Camille. So The Ziggs is proving to deal a lot of damage. They have a pick here, though.
Goats looking to pull their own tempo card, and it is landing in the river. That's the jungler and the smite dead. They're looking for an actual one because it's there, because it's gone, and because it is gone. The Goats now look to find their opportunity to seize the Baron. No jungler alive. TP coming in. They're not looking to let this one go down without a fight. If a ult from Ziggs can stop it, there's certainly a lot these members can do. Baron already low. I don't think they can steal it. I don't know if they want to spend too much for it. Smite comes down. It is Rek'Sai securing that one, and the Goats find a window in the river. It's not where you normally find windows, but they smash it, they splash it, and they get the Baron to boot.
They do, and they want a bit more. Gomaboy getting shut down so much.
Suppressed, rooted, feathers flying. That's a kill there for Gomaboy as well. Wishful Hope stuck in the wrong place. Don't know what he was looking for, but he found feathers.
Absolutely good there, and two towers are ending up on the side of the Artist there. They decided not to commit all players there to that Baron attack. They did manage to pick up quite a lot of their outstanding gold there in the mid lane and the bottom side of the map. Two towers being down now on the side of the Ghost. There's quite a lot of potential to be had there to play through the bot lane of the map. But of course, with this Baron that they have now, the Goat is going to be difficult to do so. If someone just hovers around that bot lane, those Baron empowered minions are right on minute to get through. So we won't be seeing any bot lane action just yet in terms of a crazy push, but the priority does lie in the side here of the Goat. They have this Baron, as you can see, instantly moving through to the Artist red side jungle, taking up all the camps that they can, and really using this advantage they found themselves in now.
Yeah, and I feel like there is a fair amount of pressure for them to utilize this, because despite losing Baron, Artists feel like they're in a good position, right? If they can stall out the siege, you have now a 3-item triple evolve Zhonya's Kai'Sa, and triple evolve Victor, and you're at Soul Point looking at a Chemsol, which is absolutely fantastic. If you survive this siege, you're looking grand. The gold lead is currently now the first significant one we've seen all game, so it is really now up to the Ghosts to make sure that they don't drop that ball, that this Baron is as great as it can be, but of course they can't just let that slide. They're going to have to be careful about it, using bombs like this to stall out these counter pushes so that she can't use the Precision Protocols here to get this tower exactly like that. That's how we do it. And can we pick up the kill as well? Well, they've, I think, already been used. Unstoppable here from the Camille, early knocked up kill going over to the Rakan, who you're fairly happy with. It's almost at a second item, you'll take it. But it is at least the Baron not being sieged. It is chip damage onto that tower, so we are getting a little bit closer, but it is sadly at the cost of life here for the Artists.
Really is, and I'm getting ever so excited now for this Baron spawn. Of course, as you say, it is the Soul Point for the Artists. Will they commit as much vision and priority as they did in previous Dragons? We'll have to wait and see, but that beautiful satchel charge, it's so good. That tower is gone.
It's such a delicious ability, isn't it? It's so obnoxious when you're playing against it, but when you're playing with it, it feels so nice. But we are beginning to see, again, what has been the pattern of this game is this bot side Drake, red ward, just monstrous control that Artists have had, painting the river red. There is Kija here, kind of standalone, trying to do something about it. His members are here in the vicinity should something go wrong. In fact, all 5 members are here. Camille has to TP to this one if she wants to be a part of this pie. Chemdrake is now dancing around the pit about to land, and it has in fact spawned, and 5 members of the Goats want to chew that grass. As I say before, the Camille from TP here not being using the flank, joining at the back. Drake pulled out, Glass Cone available, that was not taken away from the Goats. It's going to be a raw 5v5 if anything happens. Worship, keep an eye on him, keep an eye on Ninja Yoshi as well, knocked up outside of the pit. These smites are going to be crucial. The bomb here from the Ziggs, going wide, creating a bit of space, nothing yet yield. Both these teams delicately, tantalizingly pulling the trigger now with a charm onto 2, and the blown up as well. Flash away, Wishful Hopes, Asphyxia, unable to get into the fight as well. Worship, Kai'Sa is shut down. That is a 3-item evolved Kai'Sa not in the fight. Ninja Yoshi now the only one with Smite alive, going to be taking away this Soul Point again, and that is a great news for a Goats fan who are looking to close this game out. That is a second chem in your pocket. That is the stalling advantage and the scaling taken away again from the Artists, and it is another just another slight advantage, but it is beginning to build and muster into something so much more.
It really, really is. Unfortunately, the lanes and the waves aren't quite exactly where they'd hoped for them to be, but they're getting them into a position where they prefer them to be at the moment. That dragon fight, there was a dance. They were playing around their abilities.
More flash forward here, flash out again from Asphyxia. I feel like we've seen Asphyxia only ever flash away this game. It has not been their one. We'll see if they have anything in them yet, because there is still a game yet to give more out of this one. Has done pretty alright with their ultimates, to be fair, but again, it is, I think I was going to make the point there, is that team fight we saw confidence and kind of just reservedness. The team understood each other and how to play around. Is that talk we had at the highlight of the day about what B had told us. This team is very self-assured with each other. They're very at ease with each other, having played so much, and it felt like the way they played around that Drake was very much that. They were coming in at a disadvantage in terms of vision, but that slow stalling process, they understood the tools they had in their pockets. Con here has one less tool, being the flash, as he gets caught out here. The bomb being thrown on top of him, as well as the Rek'Sai, and is just caught out again. I assume it is Con here doing a lot of the vision work. You can see it there, 100 vision score. But it is Kija being the one to answer and catch him out. Con being unsupported means that he's being isolated. And the 5 members of Goat Pounds, Asphyxia dashing forward to find out there's nobody left in that bush. So again, another small little advantage here for the Goats. And I said, it's bundling, it's balling up, and we're, I think, getting close to a fatal amount as the Baron's about to land on the board as well.
It really, really is. It's getting dangerous now for the side of the Artist. Of course, they do still have 3 dragons. They could play for the soul, but I feel like the next juicy thing to come up on this map is instead that Baron. And of course, the vision's already planted down there on the side of the Goats. And considering, maybe the Goats are taking the Baron, they're not doing it quite yet. We might be playing done here and thinking, maybe you want to come play into the Baron. Come to our juicy Rek'Sai and Rakan. But they're not falling for that trap card just yet. But as you can quite clearly see, the Baron is the center of attention right now.
Yeah, the Void Seeker's coming down. And see, I think there were some pings confirming that that one did spy out some of those members looking to play the trap again. Con or Worshipped has been prey to those traps before, as you say, sprung those cards. So this time being wise to it, unable to get their vision control that they usually astounded to. Con here doing a good job of getting away from the Grand Entry, but not doing a fantastic job of getting away from those Ziggs bombs that are just being used quite willy-nilly as basically a Kai'Sa W, and it feels like almost the cooldown of that. I love as well, quickly before we enter this fight, look at the itemization here inside the Goats. Hex Drinkers and Abyssal Mass across the board, and as well as Sonya's for the Kai'Sa, importantly, but also importantly, charmed up is the Jungler and is dead. Very Mustard again, getting the pick up for that one. Killer Instinct straight into the backside. Can it go unanswered? There's a shutdown for one. Has got triple evolve, have got Zonyas to play with as well. That Kai'Sa is absolutely huge. He's going to take down their second kill of the fight, and they're looking to chase them off. Yoma Boy's the next target. Has got the flames to fire. Does pull him back in time. No Zonyas there for Rainbow Star. Flash cleanse not being able to be used. Double kill for the set as well, and it is the Goat pulling it all together. Wishful hopes is what I would describe now for the Artist's chance in this game, as they should be pulling this one through. 3 members alive, set splitting. You just can't back there, son. It's just going to have to go away further, and it is the Artist again pulling more into their grassy ball of Ba and Humbug, just beginning to snowball it closer and closer towards the base. It feels like every time they win, they're just short of having enough members alive to do something significant, but this time I think it's going to be more surmountable and more insurmountable for the Artists.
It is going to be quite a catastrophic loss there for the Artists. Again, it's not entirely game over just yet. The positioning and the players alive just mean that there is still a little bit of hope for the Artists, but the Goats are coming up on top of these team fights consistently, and it is going to get a little bit worrying now for the side of the Artists. As we can see here, almost about an 8k gold lead, but we have seen worse. We have seen considerably worse.
100%.
And it isn't quite lights out for either team just yet, but we'll have to wait and see where the next priority lies. 20 seconds on this Dragon. It is not so pointier the side of the Goats, but it is for the Artists. So do they decide, right, we want to get this into our pocket? That so we'll just change the flow of the game. But it is looking like a priority here from the Goats, so I don't think they'll actually get to retaliate on that. But as ping's going down here on the side of the Artist, do they want to flip the Baron instead? They say, you get that Dragon, that's fine with us, we'll get this big Purple Boy instead.
And I love to see that, as you say, it is basically up to the Artist with what they do. They know that if Goats pull the trigger, they get to pull it in the other way, and they're happy with the Soul, they're happy with the Baron. They get the Baron, they're happy, they're out. And it's Soul point now for both of these teams.
That's it, and that just comes down to the sheer advantage they had early with taking those dragons and getting the positioning that they had with those 3 dragons early game, and of course meaning that they had that flexibility to play into whichever Soul point they wanted. But now it comes down to this final dragon. Whether we'll get there, I'm unsure, because the Baron, of course, going onto the side of the Artists does mean that they get to push the waves a little bit easier against this menacing side on the Goats. But of course, they did manage to pick up their 3rd dragon, the Goats. It's 3 Chem Tech dragons. It's not bad at all. Whether it's as good as the Baron, we'll have to wait and see how much they manage to make off this Baron empowered team. But I think it does alleviate a little bit of pressure, especially for those waves. So we'll have to wait and see if they decide to buy into a team fight or even get a pick. The kind of slippery person to pick off there.
Slippery indeed, and of course Zaya has means of escape, so actually finding a target is fine. You're going to be able to, because they want to be pushing with Baron. The waves are going to be there. You just have to be set up for when that wave comes in to crash. And at the moment, it seems they're trying to push these waves so that doesn't happen, so the pick is going to be harder to find, especially, as we mentioned, those slippery targets. And of course, we're late enough in the game that actually clearing these Baron minions at the moment is not too tricky, right? You see all of those items on that Kai'Sa, all of those items on that Rek'Sai as well, as you're beginning to stack some more and more resistances to buy time against that Kai'Sa, who has notably got that pen from the Crystal Staff. I always get it confused because I used to be called it. Anyway, but still, the point remains. Kai'Sa's a threat. They have the Baron buff. It's just about the setup, and it could be Keecha here. Caught out this time. Blastcone gets away with the grand entrance.
That's
Keecha can get all the hook hits the wall, but the auto does not, and Keecha is the one caught out this time. Had been doing such a good job, makes the same mistake they had punished Con for this game a time or two as well. No members there to help him get out, no battle dance to get him to safety. Grand entrance been spent before steps up where he knew they were and had warded, gets shut down for it. And the reward here for the Artists is these towers. They don't mean much in terms of their gold, but it's going to bring it closer, and it is going to bring them closer to the end of the base. The spawn time on that Rakan is 20 seconds. There's been a lot of that engaged, but it is the set. Bring it in this time. Face breaker there. Flash away from Wishful Hopes. Getting down onto that big that pulls the Zhonya's dashboard, full dive going in from the Kai'Sa into the backline. Feathers going up as well. Check Ringo Starr, who's going to get rooted. Zhonya's going to keep him alive, but how long is it going to do any work for Flash forward from the red side? I'm shut that one down. Facebreaker on top of that one. Baron Muster's still alive as well. Double kill for the set, and I think it is an ace there. It is not clean, and it doesn't save the inhibitor, but they are still alive, and they're going to get 5.
Well, I could not believe that. Honestly, going into that team fight, I thought the Artists were absolutely able to lock that one out there. They seemed so sure in that team fight. Of course, we can't disregard that full build. Kai'Sa, the first person to reach a full build in this game. The damage is unbelievable on that Kai'Sa, but unfortunately, if it's just you dealing the damage and everyone else is just a little bit far behind, it's unfortunate that there's not enough damage or not enough peel there on the side of the Artists, because the Goats managed to turn that team fight on its head, and they managed to give back an inhibitor to the Goats, which is brilliant to see. So both the mid lane inhibitors are down, but of course the top side inhibitor is open. No tower there to defend it. It could be an angle of approach there for the Artists, but what a team fight that was. But again, the Goats coming out on top unbelievably.
Unbelievably as well. And I feel like now that we've crossed the 40-minute mark, the gold 6k does not mean so much, right? You can take a look at the inventories. They are filling up. Towers aren't going to mean as much. We watched them melt just a second ago with the Baron buff. Ziggs is going to melt them as well. So now that that inhibitor is down, it is not just concerning, but a real threat. And again, we have this death ball of like wards arriving here on the side of the Artist, as we have hit that position where we are looking for that soul point. It could be deciding, and is Asphyxia deciding to over the wall? Can they do anything about it? They're charmed up and does get to flash out again. Going to get knocked back into the ult from the dig, but on the other side of the fight, it is the set. He is able to get a massive haymaker, and that's opportunity for Keisha to get into the fight. That's opportunity for the feathers to come in. That's opportunity for Worship to go down. That's Killer Instinct to the backside, able to get one back, flashing away from the feathers. Does so get out, but it is looking for more Void Seeker. Going to find no target this time. Radio Star, the last one left alive, could potentially push into the base. Is going to look for the red instead, and it could be the Soul going the way of Goat against all odds, being able to stack, I think, 2 or 3 in a row. One back to answer the inhibitor. Ringo Star, the last man left alive for the Artist, is going to have to do work defending against this one as the members are not up in time for 30 seconds. Instead, it looks like the Goat's going to take that Soul and start to take the rest of the jungle, and now look towards this tower as they have this kind of mini wave, but the static shift going to be doing a lot of work. There's no Baron buff to prevent it. They're going to push in under here. No flash available for either of these members. Just going to push that one in. Does get that tower, and they look to get away before the respawn time is 2 seconds or not. This 4 on Camille. More happens, and again, it just seems to accumulate and accumulate, but we have yet to see the final punch, and it is fantastic.
I mean, what a team fight that was. Again, the Artists having the first punch in that team fight with the Camille managed to get into the team. But if you saw, it was one knock-up into another knock-up into a Charmer. She had to flash out, at which point with the Ignite ticking on her head there, and just an immense amount of CC there on the side of the Goats, meaning they managed to take down the Camille nice and early, and the advantage there lied in the side of the Goats. But finally, we have the proprietors of the Soul. It lies onto the Goats. Tech Soul is not bad at all for your odds heading into the next team fight. We'll have to wait and see how much damage, or rather how much it can mean for you in this final team fight. I imagine, I feel like this team fight, they could end the game winning or game losing team fight. They just happen to keep hanging in there for both sides of the rift. But of course, mainly the Artists, I feel like, just managing to hang on with a thread. As you say, the later and later we get into this game, more and more people become level 18. More and more people finish out their builds, and things then just become a plateau of skill, making picks, and of course, with any objective resistances and advantages you can get. And of course, this Baron. I can't believe they're looking at another Baron. There's already been 2
Baron number 3, but Con is the one. Con out again, is able to get away, flashes over the wall, so that is something. Spent Ringo Star here, could be in trouble, has used the one. The Mega for the bomb, going to be there. The cleanse not going to keep you alive from the knockup, and it is there, the hugely important member you highlighted before the game that ADCs could be potentially the most important member, and if they haven't got hands, your team's not going to win. And if they're dead, it doesn't matter how good their hands are, you're not going to get this Baron. It is another one going the way of the Goats. They're going to have to split and get some of these towers to watch out another Baron. That inhibitor, I imagine, should be respawning soon in that mid lane, in fact, because it was around that 40-minute mark before then. So we have more life in this game. Before that, I was going to highlight, there are 3 Zhonyas on the side of the Artists. They have so much that they can work with. And if they don't accidentally pull the trigger before they mean to, there is potential for them to have won that fight, I think, at that Soul. But instead, that trusty, reliable team synergy, you know, the power of friendship that the Goats have, pulled out trumps and got them that Chem Soul. And I don't think it's clicked with me until 46 minutes. And I'm upset about that fact, how good that Soul is for this team. You consider that Xayah going up in the air buys her time at a low health. She gets rewarded for that with 4 Chem Cells. You consider Rek'Sai has the similar situation with the ultimate. Gets chipped out, uses the ult to buy some time, lands and does some damage. Haymaker is fantastic. Go low health, massive shield. You're still going to get that Chem Soul additional damage applied on top of that for being low health. 3 of these members absolutely excel with this Soul. And I don't know, if Kai'Sa was alive, whether they win that one or not, maybe it's a blessing that they don't fight for it and they can begin to look to fight on their own terms, because it's turtle time.
It really, really is. And now I just love that pick he managed to get there on Ringo Star. The Shirelian in great little charge there on Ringo Star, picking up, and that was just enough there to get the advantage to take that Baron. And here they go. They're looking to take the spot on inhibitor. They got them in an image inhibitor, but there's still a little bit of pressure on the top side of the map as well. It's an open inhibitor as well, so they look to get that third inhibitor. Of course, it's just impossible to defend against what will be super minions, what is currently Baron minions. It's so hard to defend. This turtle right now.
Oh, but the turtle shell is about to be broken. It seems as the Zonias are coming out in front of the Mega Inferno Bomb. Feathers going up and down and back, and it looks like the goats are winning this one. 2 members down already. It is a dead Kaiser to point out. There is a dead Camille on the back of it. It is going to be a dead Victor who Zonias it to keep himself alive for a second. Belly bop into the feathers. Double kill for the Zaya. Wishful Hopes is the only one left. He has stood on the steps of the fountain and he's going to watch the first Nexus Tower fall. He's going to watch Rakan dance in front of his face. He's going to watch the bombs take down the Nexus and the last tower, and it is the goats in a 48-minute fantastic back and forth, bringing the door to a close, and it is on the foot of the artists, who sadly will be taken forth. But congratulations to the goats in claiming their third spot, and well deserved.
Absolutely unbelievable there, of course. Now, I mean, the goats go 5-2, as you say, they get their third place, and rightfully so. I mean, that game was exactly what I had hoped for. Two evenly matched teams going the distance, and the distance they did, almost 50 minutes. Almost 4 Barons, but you got 3. It was so unbelievable to go that far and get every single objective on their way. It was back and forth. There was turtling, and then there was cougaring, I guess, on the pounce. But it was just unbelievable, and I'm so proud there of the goats. You know, real amount of confidence there. But the artists, you know, they did lose quite a lot of team fights, but they said, no, we're not losing this game just yet. We've got more in the tank, and their split lanes managed to keep the waves pushed. I feel like did a huge job in meaning that the game could not end when an amazing team fight happened on the side of the goats. Their wave positioning was just good enough to keep them in the game, but in the end, there was no waves to defend the Nexus towers, and it did fall, and it went into the side of the goats. Congratulations to them, and commiserations for the artists. But what an amazing month it's been for both teams.
Right, and I'm so glad we get to end it with that game. As you say, both of these teams have had an amazing month. It's just a shame we've never cast an artist to win, because they do look good in that game, right? They did look great playing up the curve as well. I think we saw them play against Pirates and Swans, the eventual first and second place winners, and then we see them lose against third place, right? So it is unfortunate for them, but I have enjoyed watching them as much, of course, as I have enjoyed watching the goats. And to be honest, all of the teams, I don't think we've seen a game really that was, even if it was heavily, it wasn't decided, right? So I think, as you say, to say it's been a great month is so true. And especially to like cast these games where they've been back and forth has been so fantastic. Congratulations, of course, to the Pirates. I think it's fair we cover the standings maybe a little as we close out the second Welsh Esports League of Legends tournament of the year, which has been great sequel, I feel like, to the first. So Pirates able to clinch this one against the Swans in their off-screen game. Swans coming second, having only lost that one match. Them Artist, as we have just seen, fell fourth to the Goats here, landing third, and the Dragons and Robins coming fifth and sixth collectively. So really, I think just a great tournament all around. Congratulations to all the players. And of course, thanks to EsportsWales for putting this one together and having us.
Absolutely, no, rightfully so. The teams all did an incredible job. But as we spoke to B earlier, of course, there's many people behind the scenes doing an incredible job of keeping these players in a great mental space and being able to compete at such a high level here at the Welsh Esports League. But of course, as Brett said there, thank you so much to everyone involved, to EsportsWales as well, of course, for putting on such an amazing tournament. Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure to be alongside the opposite of the
Peabody.
Right? Thank you so much.
I'll hopefully get to cast with your P-Brain again. Of course, it has been a pleasure. And of course, a pleasure to work with Sonny behind the stream, who's been managing our production so fantastically, of course, hot fixing any of the problems that come along. And of course, our final thank you, I think, to everyone who has been watching and joining us along for this 4-week journey at whatever stage you've joined us, even for a little or for a lot, or if you've only just joined us. Thank you so much for being part of the party. It's been so much fun. So any final words from you, Minicon, before we close it out until the next Welsh Esports League?
Well, no, you're absolutely spot on there, Brett. Thank you so much to everyone watching and behind the scenes as well. You've all been amazing and made me and Brett seem, hopefully, somewhat good, which is an amazing achievement. So thank you so much. But as you say, congratulations there to the Pirates, managed to clinch their first place victory and doing it in incredible fashion, making 0 losses along the route. Incredible there from them. But of course, congratulations to every single other team as well. But as we say, until the next Welsh Esports League, thank you so much for watching. And for myself, thank you so much, and bye-bye.
So goodbye, and a thank you from me as well. Hopefully we'll see you all in the next one.